I guess it's my love of cacti started from my early childhood when my father grew cacti, and I just grew up seeing what they were like, and that love affair really has just continued on. I've just loved them all my life. When we started the collection here, this was a peach orchard, and we cleared all the peach trees. These days there's around about 8 acres altogether of the garden, and about 5 acres of that's planted out at the moment. And if the drought ends, we'll start planting some others.
Well, it was just always Jim's passion in life to have a cactus garden. I think it's something you're born into. You're either really passionate about gardening, or you could... I mean, I enjoy gardens, but I don't necessarily enjoy gardening. To be honest, I thought he'd get over it and we'd get on with our lives, but hey, it's still here 25 years later.
Cacti are part of the succulent family, but they have spines, whereas your succulents that come from Africa, they just tend to be leaf succulents and store the water in the leaves, whereas a cacti stores it in the actual modified stem, has no leaves, and just has these spines for shade modification. These are golden balls, or Cactus Country, and these would be the most collected of all cacti. And this is for all the people at home who've collected one over the years and got it growing in a pot. If you put it out in the hottest part of your garden, this is how they can grow eventually. Cacti flower on a continual basis. They'll flower probably from about June here right through till May, but each flower itself only lasts for approximately a day to 3 days, depending on how hot the weather is. And they're specialised. The time of the day they flower is to coordinate with different pollinators. Well, this is Yucca rigida, and this plant forms part of my father's original collection from about 1965 to 68, and he raised it from seed, and it's travelled around a fair bit since then. It's had about 6 different trips in different gardens in that period of time, and when it came here it was about 4 foot high, and this is how much it's grown in the last 20 years. There's no problem at all to move these sort of plants around, the yuccas. They have a very fibrous root system, so this whole plant could actually be dug up as long as you were able to grab it compactly, lift it up with a crane or whatever and shift it to any garden anywhere in Australia. This is Cereus peruvianus, and the story of this cacti is how much the finches like it. You can see this nest up here, and they all nest in this at night because the cats and the foxes and all that can't get them. In days gone by they would have nested in the hawthorn trees, which of course are noxious weeds now and have all been extinguished. So they've been able to adapt to the cacti garden here and make these cacti their homes. We probably spend on average 20 hours a week around the garden, mainly the weeds. They're the biggest problem that we have, but we have a number of issues with ferro-cactus falling down each year because they become too top-heavy. Most of the other cacti are pretty good. Another thing about the ferro-cactus is that these special glands that they have that attract the ants. So it's one of the nature's symbiotic relationships where we have the ants getting a special nectar from these glands in return for keeping this whole plant clean of aphids or scale or whatever. Generally speaking, cacti and succulents need well-lit, well-drained, open ground. A lot of people make the mistake of preparing a garden without any drainage put in it to take the excess water away, and what happens is the cacti is fine while it's small, but then when the cacti grows and gets bigger and gets its root down into that clay, the actual roots all start rotting. So you must have well-drained soil at all times. putting them into pots, you need a nice open soil so that there's very good drainage. And when you water a pot with cacti or succulents in it, the water should disappear from the top immediately you stop watering and drain right through the pot. You're better off to water once a month by wetting the whole pot than to water every day with just a little tiny bit on the top. Well, this is one of my favourite plants, the Carnegie gigantea, or commonly known as the saguaro, and most people know it from the Western movies with the big arms on them. And this plant can eventually grow to 60-odd foot high and weigh several tonne. I call it my baby giant because even though it's so big now and impressive, it's got a lot of years growing to do yet. What I like about the cacti is I've always liked the sculptural content, the fact that, you know, it's growing and changing, and you have them on an ongoing basis if you look after them for a very long time. You can probably have if you have a cacti as a child, you can probably have that till the day you die if you're really careful and look after it.